I remember very clearly like sitting in, our bed, and I was drawing out the pages of what it would look like, and I remember like doing a table of contents. Like it was like a rush, it was like all at once. Everything just kind of came together that night.
I was like, okay, that's definitely something we could do, and there's definitely a need. And
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I think she was finally relieved that I wasn't talking about something that was not very exciting.
Yeah, he had a lot of ideas. I mean, he had the dry cleaning idea, which I don't really understand, but and then the golf store, he thought we should do that, and I was like, I don't think so.
At the Business Journal, there was a clear moment for me where I knew that it was time for me to leave.
We were forced into it because of what happened at his previous job.
The Business Journal basically told me that, if I shared my faith with anybody else again, I'll be fired.
He was like, well, I quit.
Lucky for me, I already had like 6 months of business plan done.
I knew John and Jennifer could do it. I knew they'd be successful.
I actually lived with them after college, and so that's where all of it kind of started.
He was just kind of describing to me what was missing and how community impact would be different.
I remember he called July 4th, and I overlooked it. I decided, John Garrett, on July 4th, please.
I actually called Mandy to come help the very first paper.
Yes, it was kind of like, oh God, is this gonna work? But I think anyone who hears John's spiel, you immediately become passionate about it.
He called one other time and I didn't answer. And the third time he called, I decided this must be something I should answer.
But I wanted to fill that position before, but she wouldn't meet with me.
I trusted that if Michelle thought it was something decent that I would like, then I might look at it.
I knew that that people had the same questions about the content in the area, the news in their area, that just weren't being answered. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to make it. I mean, there was just no doubt.
I was really pretty excited to come on and be able to be the editor for this paper where I knew many people, thought, well, that looks good on my resume.
It was this family that finally you're birthing this baby and you're just praying it goes out into the world knowing what to do with itself.
This little board back here, actually, one of these, we would take them around in a big portfolio and sell the vision.
I had to do an alias because I wrote so many of the articles.
We need to look bigger than we are.
So I was also Holly Pearson. And then we had to get rid of it because people kept calling, some people were calling to talk to Holly Pearson, and she didn't exist.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm putting it together now. Holly Pearson, yep.
I think my mom may have written like a restaurant review or something.
My mom used to write some of the reviews, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Betty, everybody, we anybody that wanted to go on a restaurant review or help us with content, like we were in. Like it didn't matter if you could write or not, we needed help.
Anytime you create something, you're immediately hoping there aren't any mistakes.
And we were reading every word over and over and over again and still finding mistakes. This is why this is such a hard business to be in.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Because I would do edits, I would print it out for them. They would go through and make changes. I would make changes as fast as I could. All of them are coming at me. Do you have this page? Do you have that page?
It was the incredible double truck that Patty was putting together of the map, the toll road map. That is what took us forever. I thought that was never going to get finished.
I mean, edits all night.
Patty, God bless her and her husband Jason, because she's the most patient person you could possibly be during that time.
We stayed up all night.
We always had beer. I mean, we were definitely like, if we're gonna be here till midnight, we're gonna drink a beer and be here till midnight.
That was the beginning of the culture.
And I remember Kathy at one point was like, we cannot do this anymore. Like, we're not staying up all night anymore.
The best part was knowing that my parents were gonna get it.
The next 2 days were the most phenomenal days.
And it was like, wow, here we are one day sitting in his living room, you know, talking about this idea, and it was just in concept at that point, and then bam, you know, here it is. It's in my hands. This is really happening. So that was pretty awesome.
Everyone loved it.
And I walk in to deliver the paper on Friday, and a patient comes out of the doctor's office, she sees the paper I have, and she goes, "Are you with that paper?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "That is the greatest newspaper I've ever seen."
The maps, you know, I wasn't really up with the maps. And now I can hardly read a paper that doesn't have a map of what's going on. So he's had a good vision.
People love maps. Duh.
Hello, what's happening? Hey Patty, how are you doing? Good to see you.
When he talked to me about coming on board to launch Leander Cedar Park, and it was, I think the exact words he used were fish or cut bait.
The thing about Claire is she was actually there when we were first trying to come up with this idea.
I actually think I was in the masthead on the first one, so I was very proud because I helped him with some school district data, I think.
And this company owes so much of our growth to Claire. We almost took an investor on at the very beginning, and they were gonna give us $50,000 for 50% of the company. I remember talking to Claire about it. This is before she came on board, right? And I remember saying, that doesn't sound like a good deal.
Since joining Community Impact almost 10 years ago, March will be 10 years, there's never been a day that I didn't get out of bed really excited to come to work.
It's pretty amazing. I did watch John grow up. Having worked with him, I have a much better understanding of who he is.
I don't think that I would have ever imagined it would be what it is today, but I never doubted that it would be successful.
I mean, it's the same heart and soul that it was.
I think that's what's great about it, is because I can't tell you how many times I still drive around and I'm like, God, what is that gonna be? I need to go get my Community Impact out and figure this out because it drives me crazy.
I still get my RBH paper, so you bet I'm reading, actually, sometimes critiquing, you know, some things.
I'll see some of the ads that I either had to work with, and I'm like, they're still using the same ad. That is crazy.
I would say I'm most proud of our staff. It really is like a family, like we've always, you know, wanted.
There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
I think one day there's going to be a day that that hopefully God says, you know, well done. You know, like I gave you a little, and look what you did.
Remember the video we did for the first anniversary?
I don't know. And then she was talking about our voicemail where we're like, John, line one. Remember The Office? How